leave Mirage in the map pool and kind of dare Heat to actually play it against them.
Yeah, there's two possible scenarios for Virtus.pro. One of them is to remove Mirage, which you and me don't really believe they're going to do. The other one is to remove their most likely worst map, which is just 2. And since it's also one of the Heat's best maps, that's like the most likely scenario to happen. And I think also them going into Mirage and showing they're not scared of any team on any map, it's just going to give them the confidence if they're going to take the win.
Yeah, well, they certainly don't have any lacking support for that confidence with the guys in the crowd. Every time Pasha or Taz is on screen, we just hear this kind of roar erupt.
Biceps is always with you.
Biceps is always with you. And we haven't heard too much from you from Halvor. Vendetta, Keed, you see that on paper. Do you see it going any other way than the Polish side?
It's hard to really see any other way than the Polish way, really, at this point. But I don't want to forget, you know, the individual players that Keed have, because they have some excellent individual players. Most of, well, CS followers would probably know Fallen from his 1.6 days in MIBR and those type of teams and Fire Games and so on. And now you have one of the kind of up-and-coming stars in, well, World CS, which is Fer. And I've been extremely impressed by what he's been able to display as of late, and especially during the qualifiers. He's just been a complete monster. And he actually started off the tournament pretty slow for him. I was expecting him to come out of the gates, you know, just firing guns blazing, but, you know, he's gotten progressively better over the tournament, so I expect him to do really well today.
What's interesting is actually, prior to today, his stats have improved every single game he played, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's continuing into this tournament. We talk of Fer, it's time to actually look at our head-to-head, which is Snax up against Fer, and I'm going to be coming to you, actually, Jordan, for a little bit of an insight into Snax and what he brings to Virtus.pro.
Yeah, Snax is an incredibly sneaky player. Not only is he sneaky, he's got a lot of skill. He's one of those guys who he could play passive and play smart if he needed to, or he could run in first and play very aggressive. If there's ever a smoke grenade on the ground, he's probably on the fringe, inside of it, or rushing through it. He's an absolute beast when it comes to grenades, and he's very, very aware of rotations. So definitely someone to look out for just in all aspects of the game.
Casper?
He's one of the few players in the pro scene who, if you go to any pro, they're going to be like having a big respect for this guy, because everyone sees the moves that he's doing, and it's like high-risk moves, but he's making them work. Like, he's one of the few who can actually have a high success rate at doing these kind of things. And I mean, you can talk about other players, and some guys are going to be like, I actually don't think that guy is that good, but any guy that I'm talking with who's into the pro scene is like, Snax, he's a genius.
So being careful with what I say, because I can actually see Shazam down there. I just heard high risk, and the first thing I thought of is what we were talking about earlier with Cloud9's game is Shazam is a high risk taker, doesn't necessarily always pick them up, and so maybe you can give me a little bit of insight into that high risk, high reward kind of play style and how maybe that kind of affects calls or comms or anything like that.
Well, risk and reward, obviously the larger the risk, the larger the reward. And obviously there's different roles on the team. There's a sniper, there's an aggressor, there's a support player. So taking risks, you see a player like JW, who's a sniper, who will pull out the CZ and literally rush into what seems like an awful idea. I can't even count the number of times he does that, and our mind is just blown as a team watching it. And then someone like Shazam, who gets a lot of great kills for us on Inferno by taking these risks because people are setting up for a strategy or whatnot. Snax actually seems to do a lot of his smoke plays when the other team is already executing, when there's a lot of chaos around him, and he thrives in that chaos. So I think it's just the different play styles at different parts of the round. There's chaotic points, there's slow points, and then there's late round points where there's really not a lot. And so I think Snax is just to circle around is good in all of those scenarios, which is why a lot of pros respect him.
Yeah, the difference is like, and a player like Shazam, they're gonna try and meet the team when they're like executing, like Jordan is saying. But like Snax, if there's like 3 smokes coming in, he's gonna throw underhand smoke somewhere, and he's gonna hide, and he's gonna sneak into another smoke, and suddenly he's just behind 3 people. And what he's extremely good at is like holding his patience. Like if he's behind someone, he's not gonna take the first guy. He's gonna call all the information for his teammates. He's going to wait for the rotation, and at the right moment, he's going to click that mouse 1 button.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, of course, we talked about Fer as well, and the Keed stars, they must be aware of that. They must be aware of what to expect against Virtus.pro. One of the teams that have probably been held a bit higher regard in the CS scene, of course, they may look to them for strategies or what to expect. So, Hiko, when they know what VP are going to do, when they know what Snax is going to be doing, when they see those smokes, surely that's going to give them an advantage.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about Snax, you know, like a player like GetRed as well. they're so elusive on the map. They make some of the craziest plays. Like, I think it's worth actually nodding to Snax that the European team and the American scene actually have a thing called the Snax flash, which is where you go into smoke, you right-click straight up in the air, and it like pop flashes right in the ground right when it explodes. So, like, I've heard Europeans call it that, and I've heard Americans call it that. So the fact that that play is actually called the Snax flash
pays homage.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can expect it as much as you want, but the second you get flashed, the second you see that smoke and you take your attention off for 1 second, that's when Snax will actually kind of use that, and he will catch you off guard.
Yeah, and the way that the smokes is like working in this game is you have such a huge advantage looking into the smokes and just waiting for someone to go through them.
Yeah.
So you're going to be looking at, but we have the veto, which is way more important for this matchup.
Okay, and someone, I'm actually going to direct this one to Hiko. Straight away, we see Keed taking Cobble.
Yep.
Which is pretty much exactly what we thought.
Yeah.
Cobblestone and Virtus.pro takes off those too. So
we basically completely called it.
Yes.
Fantastic stuff.
Yep.
And Keed picks Mirage.
Can we dictate the whole thing? Actually, Jordan, looking at this one now, of course, we're going to see the Virtus.pro choose their side, but
I think they're going to pick Overpass.
Looking towards Overpass?
Yeah. It's like most likely.
Zach?
Yep. So VP chose CT on Mirage. Yep, all good there.
Really?
Yeah, like the team that picks the map can't pick the side, so like that's why Virtus.pro ain't scared anyways. Oh, that's good. You can see the crowd cheering. They're satisfied.
Is third map Cash?
Nuke, I think, right?
I can't see.
Nuke it is.
It is
Nuke. It is.
Wow,
All
we
right.
have our three. Okay, Mirage, Overpass, and Nuke to finish if we need it. That is a set of 3 maps if the crowd are happy with it. And I'm pretty sure the crowd are happy with supporting VP. That gives us an idea of how VP may be feeling about that map, Paul. I'm actually going to start on the left-hand side with Halvor.
Well, actually, I think that Keed are definitely up to the task of actually pressuring VP. Even though VP has Mirage pretty much on lockdown against most EU teams, we've seen, well, Keed beat Fnatic, and that's no small task. Like, if you beat Fnatic, you're doing something right. So I'm expecting this map to be probably the closest one, and if Keed can manage to grab the first map, who knows what can happen on Nuke.
Well, you mentioned Nuke. Before we get there, of course, Overpass. And I think we need to talk a little bit about that selection because we are guaranteed to be seeing that one. It's a map we haven't seen too much, or at least not here at the desk and at the stage. And I'll start with you, Casper. A map that, of course, you've already said VP are very strong on. Actually, the only other team I can remember you said were very strong on it was Navi. And maybe you can walk me through why VP are known to play Overpass so well.
They are really good at like doing executes. They're also known on Inferno for doing that, smoking off the side of pit and just taking control over the pit and like getting a really good situation in A. And it's the same with Overpass, that when you get like a lot of map control and you get close, you can throw these smokes to different areas of the map and you can like enter it with like only having to clear very few spots in that area. So that's like the advantage of VP. And when you send in a guy like Pasha and byali, they are going to clear their side.
Yeah, and kind of talk about Overpass. When I was playing with Cloud9, I remember playing Virtus.pro on Overpass in some online tournament. And it was actually kind of cool to see what they did. Like, they had these really intricate smokes. They would block everything, and they would hit a late round, a late execute in a round. And, like, what they would actually do was, like, fake B, go back to A. Fake A, go back to B really, really late in the round. And that was, you know, you're able to throw smoke so far on Overpass because there's no skybox. So you're able to throw these, like, really intricate fakes. And I'm definitely expecting Virtus.pro to come in prepared for that, and I'm interested to see what they actually do.
Anything to add to that, Jordan?
Well, yeah, I think the scary thing for KD here is that they probably don't have a lot of experience on the map. They probably don't have a lot of confidence on the map. I think the last time they played a team of this caliber on the map, they got 16-0'd by Fnatic. So Virtus.pro, as Spencer said, has great usage of smokes and great teamwork. So I wouldn't be surprised to just see a lot of KD players getting isolated at the B-bomb site, and then potentially even a fake. The whole site could get taken up by 2 players if their smokes are good. So it's definitely going to be a tough one for the Brazilians. So hopefully they could use their pace and their aim to get some good amount of T rounds here and come away with a fighting chance.
One aspect that I don't think we've touched enough on is really the AWPing capability within the Brazilian team.
Yeah.
You have both Fallen and zqkS, who are absolutely phenomenal AWPers in their own right. And if they're able to break up any of the, setups for VP prior to their executions whenever they play the CT side or vice versa, that could do a lot for Keed, and they can get kind of that momentum that they most likely will need going up against VP and this crowd. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to see how Keed are going to play, especially Overpass. That doesn't really lend itself to a double AWP setup.
And something I think it's interesting to talk about, I just saw something in an interview with one of the Key guys, and they were talking about a visit to Europe. They said they were looking at a short visit where they're similar to what you guys have been kind of hinting at or suggesting, to really kind of get in depth of the scene, have a chance to play more than just your group stages and maybe a playoff game. You know, really get in, marinate is a word I'm going to use in the EU scene. And I'm going to start with you, Hiko. Do you think that's something that could really bring these teams that extra month, you know, the noodle effect Anders was talking about?
Well, something that I think Jordan will agree with me on is the American scene, much like the South American scene, the amount of practice that's actually readily available and actually trying to prepare for a big event like this is very, very hard if you're stuck having to practice in your home country.
Limited.
Like we were talking about it yesterday with Casper, like the Europeans have like this Facebook group, you schedule it beforehand, you know exactly when you're going to play, when your exact break is going to be. In the US, you just kind of like show up, look for a scrim, somebody will play, you play to 16 rounds, nobody really plays out, and yeah.
And obviously coming straight to you then, you've had the chance to boot camp here already. I assume you felt the benefit of that.
Yeah, I mean, the key, too, is not just a full focus boot camp. It's really just getting into the flow of the gameplay here. You know, we boot camped and you saw some adverse effects when we boot camped here because we almost overplayed. We almost overpracticed. So I look forward to the Brazilians getting a chance to get immersed in the level here because what it comes down to is being able to kind of be in touch with the gameplay, the rotations, the small things that you can't always talk about, but you just feel mid-round.
It's prediction time then, boys. I'm going to start this time with you, Halvor. You've been watching these games intently, obviously either behind the Observer PC or here on the desk. Let me know where you see this one going.
Unfortunately, I see this as a 2-0 for VP, but you know, just to be different, I'm going to say 2-1 VP.
All right, Jordan.
I also think Virtus will probably take the first two. Yeah, 16-12 Mirage, maybe 16-8 Overpass.
Okay, so a lot of love for the Polish side. What about you guys?
I would actually say if Fallen Team actually has any chance of this, they have to win the first match.
Yeah,
if they do not win Mirage, they have no chance.
Yeah.
So I'll say 2-0 for Virtus.pro.
It's like hard to say, but I think they already lost Overpass beforehand, so they need to win this Mirage map. But I'm pretty sure that the Virtus.pro guys, they are prepared for this map. They know that this was the map that Keith was wanting to play, so I'm going to go with 2-0.
And so it all comes down to this. You heard it from us. Mirage, it all is on the pressure, all is on the shoulders, sorry, of the Brazilians. As we go into our very first map in this best of three, it's over to our casters. It's Tosspot and zqkS.
Thank you very much, Machine. It's been a real pleasure to be joined by zqkS, the only man who could pull off a Pasha mask. That's for sure. My biceps wouldn't pull it off. It's good to be here, Steve. Hello. You managed to get yours all the way off. Anyway, I'll just sit here with it on. So, Sean, a great game to come for us. Keed, let's focus on them first, because we know a lot about Virtus.pro. But you've had the pleasure of meeting Keed at ClutchCon as well. You know a little bit more than the Europeans who have just met them here for the first time.
Yeah, so something that's really interesting about Keed's Mirage is you can tell there's a lot of theory behind it. And what we like to call that in NA is Theory Strike. Mirage is a great map for that, where you're able to spread out a default and really control the map, and then you're able to do an execute off of that. And something that Keed is really good at in the past is doing this A execute, where they smoke off window, spawn, and on top of the stairs and take full control of connector. And if they can do that against Virtus.pro, they can take this first map and force a third map, because they're going to have a really hard time on Overpass, in my opinion.
And if we look on the positive side, it's their map first. They're playing to their strength. If you look, they're going to be CT side on Overpass as well. So an opportunity to get some wind in the sails and build confidence. Confidence that this crowd will be keen to knock out of them.
Yeah, exactly. And similar to like when we played Virtus.pro, it's really important that you get off on a good foot with this crowd. If you feel the energy of the crowd start to build behind Virtus.pro, it's almost like it's sucking the energy out of you, and in turn, you're getting weaker.
Yeah, I was going to come to that. This crowd, you know, it's absolutely beautiful to see this in esports and so on, but if you're on the other side of it, how much of a negative force can it be if you're not Virtus.pro?
Yeah, it's almost like you can feel your energy just being drained from you round by round. Every time you do something bad, the crowd cheers, and it's hard to really talk about it and fix and adapt in mid-game with that happening.
Well, Brazilian fans have hope. In 2006, MIBR went all the way to the SWC finals, and there is a long legacy of Brazilian teams doing well. But we are in Katowice, Poland, and this home crowd are here for Virtus.pro, who will start on the CT side. Is that where your money's going?
Yeah, and honestly, it looks like we have Keed going with a B strat right off the bat here, so it'll be interesting if Snax, and like Jordan said, he likes to play up close next to these smokes, and he really uses them to his advantage. So Keith's in a very interesting spot right off the bat.
Snax will open up the shooting. He'll go down first, though. And there's Neo lying in wait. First frag comes out. Knife's going to follow. No. Neo will be dropped in the end by boltz as Pasha is quickly over to look for the bomb planter. It will be Steel on the other side going for it before Fur, the man that we've heard a lot about, delivers 2 headshots. Pasha and byali both go down, and it is all on Taz to pull Virtus.pro back. And you could hear a pin drop as Keed pick up the pistol round.
And that was more than just a pistol round, because something that a lot of folks at home don't know is Virtus.pro and a lot of the European teams, they fear that B bomb site hit. They know once that B bomb site is lost, it's one of the hardest bomb sites in the whole game to retake. So you often see teams like Virtus.pro have 2 there, or even 3 there on pistol round, with Pasha having a quick rotate up cat or back through the kitchen area. You could tell Virtus.pro had 3 guys there. So by taking that on pistol round, it really gets in the back of Virtus.pro's head and may force rotations later on.
We spy boltz making his way towards Taz. Snax, of course, the man who famously delivered so big on this map at Katowice last year. Does he have something to offer this time around?
And here's the standard second round buy out of Virtus.pro. Really does nothing to hurt their economy too much later on in the game. May take an op out of Pasha's hand 4th round if they happen to lose this one.
Talk to us about Neo with the scout.
And yeah, Neo does seem to be picking up sniper rifles a lot more often in Go than I ever recalled him doing in 1.6. He's really controlling the map with Pasha. And it's weird because Snax and Neo kind of switch roles with that as that secondary sniper.
Steel has just taken a look down towards B, but there are still 2 players who have barely taken the bait now. Fallen will lead the push in, looking for vengeance onto Taz for the drop of boltz.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Keed's in a pretty tough spot right now. They're down a man and also down heavily on HP in this situation.
First frag of this entry into A goes to Keed, who will pull us back to a man advantage now as Fallen's Galil does the job. But there is that scout and that headshot as Fur is outed. It's now going to be Pasha coming around. Skill has just 4 points of health, and Neo will finish off the job. And Virtus.pro will quickly turn around that pistol round.
And that round right there is really the story of Neo's tournament thus far. He's really putting Virtus.pro on his back lately in this tournament. He's taking the solo bomb sites, at least from our match. He's playing that B bomb site on Inferno just terrifically, all by himself. Literally, they'd play 4 at A. And he would do a great job of relaying information and getting the rotations there in time. That round, you saw him rotating around with the scout and just putting in work.
And Neo always a top player, but having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Form really coming at the right time for him.
Yeah.
On board with Snax, who will see action at B for the 2nd time. See fires off and will down Steel. Lovely play from the veteran now. Well, this time last year he was new to these occasions, but he is now a seasoned pro at holding on with Neo in situ as well. Fur will collect and Pasha finishes off Fur. It is just Fallen who has a hell of a task ahead of him. 2-1 Virtus.pro.
Really nice hold there by Snax and Neo. Snax jumping, getting that information. Landing the spam, obviously, before the hit even happened, which is pretty much a dead giveaway that a B hit's about to happen if you spam a guy in that corner. So yeah, great round by Snax.
And if you're on this Keed side, you won the pistol round, you feel like, you know, half the battle is done at that point, but then to lose the subsequent 2, what's going through your head?
From experience, because that happened yesterday to us, it's very disheartening, but it's something you can get over. Unfortunately, it does a lot of horrible things to your economy later on in this half, because Virtus.pro right now is sitting quite pretty after that round.
Snax again going to see action at B. As that Neo very quick to join in with that scout, goes almost clay pigeon shooting, but Snax will have none of it. Neo has the 2nd frag, and there's Snax with 2 more. And it is Fur who's the last man standing. No more. 3-1 Virtus.pro. Now, you're not the only American on this stage, though. Peter is stood behind the Keed players. What do you think he's offering to them at this moment in time?
I think he's literally just the hype man right now for him, and they love his energy that he brings. He's a good friend with the team, and Peter's always been that hype guy, and just a really awesome guy to be around. He'll brighten your mood no matter what. But yeah, going back to that last round, you saw Snax take that play where he moved behind that back pillar and use that to his advantage. Was able to get back up in. just such a veteran play by him.
Pasha pushes out and will be dropped, but it'll be for naught as Neo comes in for 2 of his own. Fur, who's got a hell of a shot on him, picked off as one of those 2, and now it's Taz who has to chase out boltz, trying to make his way in towards that A site, but it's a bit of a sandwich as over on B. Snax is going to see action momentarily within the shape of Steel.
Yeah, and you can tell Snax feels that that's just an A lurker, and he almost knows that there's a guy up in this apartment right now.
Right on cue.
Yep. And you can tell instantly after he got that kill, he knew he was safe, and he pulled out his knife. That's just his knowledge of the defaults and how Mirage works as a map, and particularly at top level CS.
byali picked off boltz elsewhere, and Fallen is the last man standing. Isn't standing anymore. Well, a blip on the pistol round, but nothing, no blip since then.
Yeah, so something to keep in mind right there is that was Kaboom's first attempt at running a default. They had a couple guys go back mid. They had a B lurker and A lurker. And after Neo got those 2 kills mid, the remaining members of Virtus.pro instantly know there's a guy lurking somewhere by A. They spot him by A halls. There's a guy lurking somewhere by B. He could go underpass. He could go back to the back of mid. And that's how Snax knew that that was the only guy there.
You saw those stats come up from Neo, playing above his career KDA at the moment. Here in Katowice, raising his game is something I was chatting with Taz before the game, and I asked him, is it pressure or is it a help to have these players, all these fans in front of you? And he said it's a massive help. So they very much are the 6th man.
Yeah, it's crazy. VP really feeds off this energy. It doesn't pressure them or make them feel nervous at all. And I mean, I read multiple comments online just about how calm they seem, even in the worst situations. When we were up like 8-0 CT side yesterday, they remained calm. So it just goes to show their experience and their just level-headedness as a team, and just kind of seeing all the situations before. They know what's in front of them.
And the one thing that Keed haven't been able to do at all is be able to rush a plant in since that first round. How would you advise them going about that?
I really want to see them do that A strategy that I spoke of before, but unfortunately, in order to do something like that, you're going to need to probably get middle control, which they did try to do that on first gun round. Unfortunately, they just didn't do a good enough job of clearing middle. Maybe send a guy through underpass, take his time a little bit more.
Challenging here will be byali, and he gets the frag. Crucial. Takes out that AWPer and changes the dynamic of this round going forward.
And this is just Virtus.pro right now, abusing the map, knowing how Keed likes to play. Something they did against us even was they sent that AWP through the halls like that, and then they would smoke off window delayed, and it almost pushes your AWPer, who would be Pasha in this situation, out of the window room and right into that AWPer's scope, and it's a free kill for him in the halls. Virtus.pro, knowing that Keed likes to do that, double pushes halls on this round after they run their default.
Talked to us yesterday about the opening rounds on CT side Inferno. They were so aggressive, and we're starting to see a little bit of that from Virtus.pro. They will not sit back and let you come to them.
Yeah, and that's something that I even told my team going into the pistol round to start the match yesterday is they've always pushed down mid on us, pushed B, and so we really ran a methodical Inferno pistol against them where we had lurkers all over the map pretty much, and that's how we took them out.
Pasha equalizes out Fallen's frag. It's a 3-on-3 though. Steel has got himself the frag onto Snax elsewhere, and that opens up the B-bomb site, but boltz with the bomb was nowhere near, and he's trying to Usain it over towards that site. Steel will go over towards Pasha now as Fur gets the frag onto Taz, and Pasha just draws his gun at the wrong time, and that leaves byali 1-on-3. He has already got 1 frag this round, but this is a tall order to recover this site.
Big kill right there by Steel, by the way. That was huge.
Smoked on one side and without very little vision of the bullets coming at him on the other. byali is between a rock and a hard place with just 21 points of health as well.
And I almost think byali isn't really going for a win here. He's more going for 1 kill. That 3rd kill on a gun round, particularly when a team, it's their first real gun round after a string of rounds for you. If you kill 3 that round and then win the following round, you know you're forcing the other team on an eco. So it's more of an economy situation than him going for that 1 versus 3 right there. He just couldn't get that kill.
Thus far, Neo leading the scoreboard. A spread of 9 on that VP side. But players that are impressing on the Key team?
Right now, honestly, I really liked how Steel just lurked B. I haven't really been paying attention too much to the individual plays. Fallen opened up quite big at A a couple rounds. I know that. But I always think Steel is great at lurking B on this map.
Snax pushes out and tries to prevent exactly that.
Yep.
Commentator's curse. Taz elsewhere gets the frag onto Fur, and VP still have 5 men, even if a handful of them don't have any health. And boltz will see to off to byali. Pasha down to 7, but Taz has himself that frag on Fallen. 2 players left standing for Keed, both with full, will lead the charge. Snail's pace charge in towards that A site. Taz has the first, and it is now boltz 1 on 4. Once he got in his locker. First man is Neo, and he will try to make his way over towards the bomb that's on the floor. Second man is Snax! Oh! No hat-trick for him. Pasha, with just 7 points of health, 1 bullet might have done it, was able to shut him down.
And that's what I was talking about right there. And now we're seeing Keed get in that really bad financial situation. They might be able to force a buy here. It looks like a couple of them can buy. But then, yeah, they're going to buy with electing to keep 3 Tech 9s and 2 AKs. So this round is really big for the rest of the half for them, because if they lose this, they're looking at an eco round for sure, and then a low buy or another eco round following that if they lose out.
The optimism that we tried to build for this Brazilian side coming into it being their map just hasn't quite worked out for them on the T side thus far. Pasha prowling. byali is there as well in the nades will land in on that A site. The Molotov will just hold them back though as they try to make that entry in towards his site. It's going to be Pasha with frag on the steal. byali comes in with number 2. boltz goes down, and through the smoke, Pasha is still looking for more. He pokes around the corner, gets himself onto Fur, who had dropped Taz, but Fallen will drop the biceps as byali is ready to avenge, and that he does. It is Fallen 1 versus 3. Max ready to put pay to that. Fallen gets himself the frag on the Neo. That's another one for him before Snax will prevent any further embarrassment. And Virtus.pro are up 7-2.
And that round, you actually saw Keed elect to do the strat that I referred to. That's kind of the bread and butter, where they push towards the connector. Virtus.pro read it perfectly, though. You actually saw Pasha swing to the ramp before anyone was even up the A ramp. Virtus.pro had 3 guys there, no one even watching middle. Their B rotator already moving towards the ladder room. They just read them perfectly that round. And great rotation by Pasha right there.
Pasha pushing out, looking to take control of that mid area, but there's no one there for him. The bomb is going over to B. It's Snax who will see action once more. And this is what you talked about, Snax's control on B. What's he doing at this moment in time? How is he mixing it up round after round?
Well, he mixed it up this round by actually letting Neo op upper B, which is something that Keed probably wouldn't expect, because Snax, as the B player, they know he has a Colt. They know Neo's been kind of pushing off Cat a lot. And now they're about to run into Neo opping this crack. Neo spots this guy, make an early comm that he backed off of B. Taz is now aware that he's probably coming underpass. And let's see how Virtus.pro react to this.
Taz lying in wait, gets the first frag. It was the bomb carrier, but Fallen picks him off. Snax now waiting in line as he and Pasha will pick themselves up 2 more. And they will look to finish off the job. boltz, though, will claim 1 in the middle of that, but VP get away with 3 men, 2 of them carrying AWPs at the end of that round.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good the Tech 9 is. When there's a guy on Cat, guy connector, and a guy window, you're not coming up that connector with 4 Tech 9s.
Look at that crowd. This is Keed's first time in front of such a crowd as well. That has to be factored into this. Yesterday's game's all over in the player room. What was your first time like in front of a big audience?
Well, my first time. No. No, I believe it was here last year, actually, when we played NIP, that I felt that real energy. DreamHack, obviously, for the first major, was a massive tournament with a huge crowd. We made the semis there. But it's definitely electric, and it gives you energy. It almost makes you a little bit nervous, but it kind of wears off after a couple rounds.
Grenade dropped on the head of goes without Pasha. It's almost effortless at this point. Virtus.pro just hunting down the Brazilians now. Frag after frag. And it is boltz with 40 points of health, up against 5. And we will see a timeout from Keed. I'm going to ask you the exact same question that happens every timeout. What do you expect Keed to be changing during this timeout? What will Peter be saying?
Well, it looks like both of the rounds they've won so far, the pistol and that gun round, both involved the B-bomb site. I'd be really shocked if after this timeout we don't see them somehow use the B-bomb site more than they have other than those 2 rounds. Because other than those 2 rounds and the one eco round that we saw Snax and Neo hold down, we really haven't seen them gone back over there. They keep trying to do these A hits and their default at mid. And Virtus.pro is just doing an excellent job rotating around and not even allowing them to breathe when they take middle, actually. They're taking the fights in middle itself. They're not letting them get that connector control, which is really what Keed thrives on this map, is getting that connector control and really owning the map, the whole middle portion of the map, getting in the window room, the ladder room. They've never been able to do any of that so far.
Now, momentum, what part does that play in? Yesterday in your game on CT side, Virtus.pro put up a huge chunk of rounds. Does it drain you? Can you stop that? Or is every round just as important as last? Can you isolate round by round?
Well, it kind of depends on the vibe you're getting from the rounds themselves. Yesterday against Virtus.pro, we all felt like the rounds were so close. I looked at the scoreboard after the match, and it looked like we killed 3, about 6 rounds in a row in the early part of the match. And we just couldn't win any of those 3v3s and 2v2s that we were in. Versus right now, versus Keed, these rounds, they're not that close. So I'm scared for their mentality right now, because they really need to keep their heads up and try to exit this half with about 4 to 5 rounds. I know their CT side's great. I've played against it in boot camp before when we played them at ClutchCon. They like to double and triple op, actually. And that kind of stuff, Virtus.pro could have a lot of problems with. So it's really important that they finish out this with 4 or 5 rounds.
See what they can muster. It'll be first frag going in the way of Fallen. Snax then quickly avenges, but through the smoke will come some more of those Keed players as they look to get in towards that B site. Maybe sneak in a bomb if they can.
That was just a brilliant play by Snax. Just really abusing the smoke and the flashes of the game to his just such knowledge right there, pushing through that smoke right as the T's run past him, singling out that one guy.
Steel both having to take on the AWP on the other side as it was Neo who's rattling off those shots, and byali will finish off the job. Steel goes down. Virtus.pro, well, exactly as you called it, by the way. You were not surprised to see a B push coming straight after the pause.
Yeah, but I would really like to see it on a gun round. I know they have B executes, and look, they've actually elected a double op, so that's how they're going to try to change the pace here. Is they're going to have an extra op in their setup here. One might go towards B, maybe for a pick up there. This guy looks like he's just going to run at mid, zqkS. We do have a couple guys working towards B, maybe to underpass. Yeah.
But it's Neo that they'll have to challenge with that AWP, as well as Pasha.
I love how Virtus.pro is playing up in the site now. They're completely changing their setup. Pasha opping in the site, byali in the site, Taz close ramp. It's like every time Keed thinks of something, Virtus.pro does something completely opposite that they haven't done throughout the whole entire match.
And who is it calling that? Is that the addition of Kuban, or is that taking stress off Taz, or is it still Taz making these judgment calls?
I think Taz is still making these judgment calls. Something I noticed Kuban helping a lot with was smoke timing. So when we played them on Inferno, they would quad smoke banana. Basically, they would just keep smoking, smoking, smoking. They wouldn't even use smokes at the A-bomb site because they would have 4 guys there. So Kuban helps with that kind of stuff, timings and rotations. But as far as like setups, I believe Taz is still calling that kind of stuff.
zqkS dropped on the other side by the AWP. Leo. Virtus got himself into a lovely position here, looking to take on Taz, and that was one of those shots he just had to hit to open up the site for his teammates. He will get there in the end with the help of his teammates. Steel has a frag onto Snax as well, and momentarily they were level on men, but they lose fur to Neo's AWP. And they have a health disadvantage on Fallen as well, as Fallen does get 1 frag before going down in the end. And Virtus.pro do get their 11th.
And that was actually a very good round by Keed. They controlled the map, they got middle, they got in the window room, they were A ramp, they were halls. They had a full split going on A, just for kind of missed that kill, and that happens sometimes. Unfortunately, can't hit all the shots, and strategically they were in a good spot there, in my eyes.
Well, here we go with Virtus.pro's steam train just rolling through Keed at this moment in time. As a commentator, we look for the glimmer of hope. We look for the storyline to build. But for Keed, at the moment, it's hard to find that.
I'm just envisioning all those Virtus plow gifs in my head right now that I've seen on Reddit. Just the plow truck coming through.
Does it bring back bad memories?
Yes, it does.
Ooh, boltz with a head onto byali as pasha will look to cover the gap. Fallen with the second as Taz goes down. And no sooner do we start writing their obituary to Key to remind us exactly why they're in this quarterfinal. Neo will stop the rot. It's he and Snax that must hold on to this round for Virtus.pro as they begin to look to recover the A site. boltz will stop them. And now Neo is 1 on 4. And he is going to run the gauntlet to no avail. Virtus.pro dropped their first round in a while, and Keed have their third on the board with 1 to go.
Good round right there by Keed. Just a solid A execute. boltz obviously opening up with that huge headshot on TD Spawn, just 2-bulleting byali.
And you saw Fallen stats pop up from ClutchCon there. What do you make of those numbers that Keed had? When they were Kabam at ClutchCon, what did you learn from them at that point? Did you come out of that thinking, wow, I actually fear this team, they could go somewhere?
I definitely feared them after Aspen. I knew that they obviously had a vast array of tactics on a lot of maps. They still needed work on certain maps, is what I learned at ClutchCon. They had a really tough time against Fnatic on Overpass. I actually think they didn't win a single round in that match. So I know they are weaker on some maps, and I almost guarantee this boot camp they've spent here in Europe has helped tremendously. So I'm excited to see what they've learned on Overpass, to be honest, in this next map. But looking at this map, I mean, it's still clear that they're a great strategic team.
As now fires off as the Molotov will come in, waiting for him, and it's that smokers. We haven't seen much of the AWP from zqkS as he has gone up against 2 of the best AWPers in the game, so it's a hard ask, and pasha just pokes out and picks him off. This time with the M4.
Still have Fallen lurking in middle. It's really important that he gets a kill here. Pasha
There's that commentator's curse.
Lurking the fringe of that smoke.
Now byali looking to stop any entry on towards the A site. Neo helps him out, picks up the frag onto Fur. And now we're down to just Steel and boltz up against 4. boltz walking a long way. And as that bomb began to go down from Steel, it was byali who stopped him. Collecting the bomb is boltz, but he's walking straight into Neo's trap. And the half will finish 12-3. Virtus.pro looking very, very strong.
Yeah, and crowd heavily favoring Virtus.pro right now. The momentum is building, and Keed's definitely going to have to win this pistol round if they're looking to come back this half.
Let's not forget the great story behind this Keed side. Once they got the opportunity to come to Katowice, they asked the community to help them. People donated to help get them all the way over to Poland for this tournament. A real positive story that I can personally empathize with from other games. It's, you know, something that's a bright light in the gaming industry.
Yeah, and I think that people can relate with them on a personal level. They're really nice guys to hang out with, chat with. They'll laugh, they'll joke with you. I think the community could really get behind that, and they can really just relate to them as gamers.
We're almost getting a little too soft.
I'm tearing up. my makeup, it's rolling down my cheek.
I always knew you were an emotional guy, Sean. Now we're talking about Taz and the help that Kuben's offered. You as the in-game leader, how do you find the need for help? Because we've seen this, role over the past, I guess, 12 months of ex-pros, relatively recent ex-pros moving into the role of coach to help out the in-game leader and free him up, free his mind up. What are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely a lot of time between like demo watching and really modeling for future strats and stuff like that. It's one of the main reasons why I have trouble developing like a solid stream schedule and things like that, which would be fun, obviously. And
yes, I'd love you to stream.
Yeah, but it's hard to mix the two and be able to create strats while watching demos, looking at opponents, and looking forward to the future of the team. So it's a big time drain, and that's why coaches are so big right now in CSGO, is because it really allows the 5th player to focus on their game, and bringing Kuben in could be great things right now for Virtus.pro, and we're seeing that right now.
Can you find, in the Cloud9 setup, what does the role of the coach do in Cloud9 right now?
I would probably have them help a lot with just sitting behind us and really like how Kuben's used, and just tell people when to smoke, what's being watched, and because a lot of times you'll find yourself in a situation where two people are watching angles that really don't work together. So that's something that a coach can really point and help on a lot, and just saying that one time will remedy that in the future all the time.
I'll come back to you at the end of this round with this question. Who's your dream coach? Pasha gets picked off there, and Keed once again start off with the opening frag, and they'll need to take more than just that if they want to claw their way back into this on the CT side. boltz is the man tasked with holding off this A push, which Fallen will have to come in and help with. Quick smoke and bomb plant going in as byali gets in and somehow gets out with his life with just 2 points of health. Steel sees to him, Snax goes down, and despite that bomb plant, there are but 2 players left alive who don't have 100 points of health between them to hold on. One of those is Taz, though. boltz and zqkS both go down. Taz going mental with the help of Neo, and now Neo versus Fallen and Steel to win the round. No. Steel gets there, and Keed win their second pistol round.
Awesome hold there by Keed, really fighting off that kind of resilience from Taz with that Tech 9, just running around the site, just destroying everyone in his sights. So good job by Keed, keeping it together there and rebounding that round.
Now to the question I posed, who's your dream coach?
Does it have to be like an inactive player or an active player?
Whichever you want. If you could pick one player in the world, former or past, that you could just put behind you in games.
I would love to get someone from the source scene. So if I had to pick someone from the current scene right now, I would go with someone like Existence, because I love his style of calling, how he mixes executes in, and particularly how he uses defaults across maps a lot, which is kind of what we do a lot. So I would love to just know the intricacies behind the stuff Existence calls.
Well, there you go, Existence. If you're watching, somebody loves you. 12-4. Keed with the weapon advantage and the glimmer of hope that they're going to need. They're going to need to pull out the CT side of their lives if they want to claim this first map. But it is doable.
It certainly is, and this is the round where it starts for Keed. Not losing this eco means everything to them.
Here we go. The nades rain in on the A site. Virtus.pro look to follow them in with bodies. It's Fur and that FAMAS that will see action first. Taz will stop him as he drops down and 180 headshots him. Now pushes on for more. byali will steal that one off his toes, and Virtus.pro charge into the A-bomb site and put their name right down on that bomb. It is Fallen who will take a lot of damage. Finally, we have someone on the board for them as it'll be Snax that's picked off by Steel. But in the meantime, he and Pasha have done the damage, and Steel is 1 on 3. 24 and 6 on 2 players there, but a hell of an ask for Steel, who is hearing the side and doesn't have long to get the defuse either, and won't. He looks to escape and looks to hunt down perhaps Neo, but won't get that either. And Virtus.pro will be able to again convert that pistol round loss into a 1-all in the second half.
And that right there, that round just shows why Virtus.pro is so brilliant on this map. They take something that's so standard as an A execute right there. It just looked like a normal A execute. Taz exits the halls, gets that kill. He somehow has a smoke still, and they coordinate it so that way he smokes center site after he's already dropped out, so that way the bomb can be planted without worrying about dying from a guy running through the connector smoke and things like that. Those little twerks or tweaks in normal strats are what wins Virtus.pro these Mirage matches.
Snax opens up the frag against Fur that goes down. And Taz looks for a second. I think it's boltz who's on the other side there with the help of Steel, and they'll try to create some form of a sandwich lying in wait. Remember, Steel does have that M4 as well. Not anymore. And Virtus.pro, well, just going through the motions at this point. Fallen does pick up a nice frag onto Snax and a second onto Pasha before his nade strikes from beyond the grave, and that'll be that. It is 14. They are 2 away from picking up map 1.
And just great movement right here by Snax, knowing to jump on this box, peek that angle, completely off probably the position that Steel was holding, and then crouch slide away. We call that the Shoxy slide.
The Shoxy slide. So we already have 2 of our semi-finalists. They are Fnatic and Envy, and Virtus.pro looking to put their name amongst that group.
And this is where Virtus.pro is at their most dangerous, when they're just no respecting you at 14-4 and just running up the A ramp.
A little bit of respect shown back to Taz there with that M4 headshot, reminding exactly what Keed are capable of. And Fur in the FAMAS do exactly that onto byali, the pasha, and those beautiful biceps and that AWP. Clean out the sights. 15-4, 11 match points.
The momentum cannot be stopped. It's through.
And take a look at that again from Pasha in that AWP. First one, and then two. From your perspective now, I mean, how do you motivate yourself for map number 2? They've got to go and do this all over again on Overpass, a map that, well, they're not known for.
Yeah, so they're going to have a really tough time on Overpass, but the one thing they have going for them is they're going to start CT, I believe. So if they can string together Pistol, get that first gun round, they can really control the economy of the first half and get things going in their favor.
One thing you'll find that a lot of the teams from outside Europe and the US have against them is that getting games on both Cobble and Overpass is challenging for them in their local communities, and that's exactly what Keed said before this game. They're the two maps we don't really want to be playing.
Exactly, and that's something that people don't realize. I was talking to Anders about that, so I read a lot of comments like, oh, they're boot camping and they should have all these set strats on Overpass, and we have a lot of strats on Overpass, but when you boot camp, you realize certain strats just don't work in Europe. So we realized that really fast, that a lot of the things we theoried up in America just wouldn't work. We made some changes on the fly. But Overpass is just one of 7 maps, and we only had 7 days to boot camp. Probably about 7 scrims total on Overpass, because we had to spread out across all the maps. It's not enough, and I hope it is enough for Kaboom. And I hope the things that they created are just solid enough to take out Virtus.pro.
Well, you know the solution, Sean. Move to Europe. I got a spare room. We'll put Jordan in with D-Man. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get him over here somewhere.
All Jordan needs is a doghouse.
Yeah. You heard it here first. We're moving Cloud9 over by hook or by crook. But more importantly, it's Virtus.pro that have taken map 1 with an absolute decimation of their Brazilian opponents. And they move on to their map, which was Overpass. And we will see exactly what they have to offer. Despite that victory, still words of wisdom being ushered by Taz.
Yeah, Taz always keeping his team kind of level-headed and really remembering kind of what their goal is here. The goal is to win, not get in the semis, not get in the finals. Taz is determined to win this tournament again.
And if you haven't seen it over on the IEM streams, the stage that they are fighting for is a prize in itself. Do make sure you see pictures or videos of the intro for that. Obviously not while CS is on. Right, we're going to take a quick break as we recharge for the second map. It will be Overpass. Virtus.pro's choice, they lead 1-0. We'll be right back.